Let's begin today's session of mindfulness and compassion meditations. And what we'll do is the basic first part of mindfulness, which is close placement. And mindfulness, as we know and we've discussed before, is the state of being fully present to one's experiences, perceptions, internal feelings, everything that's going on in the moment, from moment to moment. Now, for most of us, that lasts for a little bit, and then we go off into daydreams. The practice of mindfulness is when we wake up from that daydream to immediately return to our object of attention, whatever we had chosen as our anchor. And we use the breath as our anchor for a couple of reasons. One, it's always available to us. Another is that our breathing is a reflection of our state of mind. When we're uptight, our breathing's up. When relaxed, everything settles and our breathing becomes fuller and slower. And our breath is our connection to the outside world that we're regularly exchanging. So we'll use the breath when we do the compassion practice of exchanging. And we take in what's not us, our environment, and it becomes part of us. And we breathe out part of us that becomes part of the environment. So that indication of our interconnectedness to our environment, that we're not truly completely separate, is an important aspect of working with the breathing. Now we start with some grounding and centering practice to get us settled. And then we work with what's called the close placement practice. And that means holding our attention close to us. And you can't get any closer than the internal sensations in your body. So our object of attention will be the feeling of filling as the breath comes in and emptying as the breath goes out. And the reason we do this first, this close placement, is to train the mind, which tends to wander. And like getting a new puppy, you don't just let it wander all over the yard and hope that it comes when you call. You keep it on a short leash close to you. And when it starts to wander away, you pull it back. So that's why we have as our anchor, as our object of attention, we place our minds close to us on the internal sensation of filling and emptying as the breath comes in and out. Then we expand our mindfulness, our awareness of the environment. Perceptions, sights, sounds, smells from outside, tastes, internal feelings, and even thoughts. Because we are aware of our thoughts, we perceive our thoughts. So they are objects of our perception in a certain way. And we use the tendency of the mind to wander, we let it wander, but we give it a certain range, which is to wander among the perceptions in the present moment. So although it can wander from one perception to another, they're always in the here and now. Then we relax our awareness and imagine that it is as big as all of space, infinite in scope. That becomes the basis for our compassion practice, because we want to feel connected with the whole universe. And we gather in and transform the suffering in ourselves, in those close to us, and in the universe, and then transform it and radiate out, as we'll talk about the cool moonlight, as you can see over my shoulder, the cool moonlight of kindness, to fill all beings with peace, happiness, and healthiness. So let's begin. You can start by letting your eyes close, gently close. Be aware of your body. Fully inhabit your body. Wiggle your toes, move your knees, shuffle in your seat with your hips, chest, back, shoulders, arms, fingers. Fully inhabit your body. Neck up to your head. And having fully inhabited it, you'll notice there are spots where we're holding tension. Tension that you don't need to hold your posture. So first, take a nice upright posture, as if you were sitting up to pay attention. And let's do a body scan, just noticing where there are extra pockets of tension that we don't need to hold that upright posture. And as we become aware of them, just let them melt, dissolve, sweep away, whatever feeling you have about it, as much as it will. We're not forcing it, that just brings more tension in. Just notice it like the sunlight of your awareness on snowflakes of tension that melt as soon as you're aware of them. From the top of your head, forehead, around your ears and the back of your skull, cheekbones, eyes, and jaw. We have a lot of tension in our jaw that we're not aware of. So just let it relax. Your lips can be just barely touching or slightly parted. As much as you can, you want to be breathing in and out through your nose, but certainly in through your nose. Your neck and shoulders, again, often tension there. Just let them hang. You need a little tension in your neck to hold your good posture. But anything you don't need, just let it soften. Collarbones, shoulder blades, upper arms, chest, back, rib cage, lower back, stomach, and deep belly. You may be surprised to find some tension in your deep belly. Work with it to let it soften, let it melt, while you still hold your upright posture. Hips and pelvis, hamstrings, thighs, forearms, and hands. Knees, calves, ankles, and feet. Take a nice full breath, and as you breathe out, just sweep away in one breath from head to toe any unnecessary tension. And let your mind relax as well and kind of drift back and down, drifting down just in front of your spine. Imagine your awareness in the center of your body, but drifting down the back of your throat, behind your chest, behind your solar plexus, like a leaf gently settling to the bottom of a pond. Drifting down past your stomach to the deep core of your torso, a couple of inches below the navel, just in front of the spine. Let your awareness rest there. You can feel a gentle movement as the breath goes in and out, like gentle currents at the bottom of that pond. It's quiet down there. With each out breath, just feel like you're settling in, sinking into your seat, sinking down and merging with the earth. Feeling like you're part of the earth, but your nice upright posture extending upwards, majestically like a mountain. Let your breath just come and go without directing it. Just notice it. Sometimes deeper, sometimes shallower, sometimes short, sometimes long. Let it come and go as it will, like the wind. And let your mind be open to whatever you're going to experience without preconception or judgment, like the sky that looks over everything on the earth without partiality or bias. Body like a mountain, breath like the wind, mind like the sky. Now, gently let your eyes open about halfway. Look downward under your eyelids at about a 45-degree angle. Wherever your eyes rest, let them rest there, but then soften your gaze. Unfocus it so that it's like you're looking at the space that you're sitting in, including your body. And with that awareness, direct your attention not only to your posture, but to the internal sensations, the feeling you have of your torso filling as the breath comes in and emptying as the breath goes out. Although your eyes are gazing downward, be aware of not letting your head tilt forward and down, where it's easy to get sleepy. So aware of your posture, the sensation of filling, and the sensation of emptying. And if your mind has wandered into a daydream, when you realize it, at that moment you're already awake, you're back. Just smile, have a sense of humor about it, and think, that was wandering. Back to filling and emptying, the feeling of filling and emptying. And we'll do that for a few minutes. If you've gotten sleepy and your eyes closed, just reinvigorate your posture. Raise your gaze a bit and be aware of the feeling of filling and emptying higher in your body, like your chest and upper back. If you find your mind is full of thoughts and off into daydreams again and again and again, just lower your gaze even more to just a few feet in front of you and feel the filling and emptying happening deep, deep in your torso. In either case, no need to judge, just notice it as a phenomenon that happened. And now raise your gaze, looking straight ahead. But again, wherever your eyes rest, let go of that spot and just soften your gaze, open your vision to the full extent of your peripheral vision, side to side, above and below. Open up your hearing in all directions, as far as you can hear. Tune into your bodily sensations from head to toe and back up again. Notice thoughts passing by in the big sky of your mind. And let your mind rest on whatever sense perception you find garners your attention. You can perceive colors, shapes, and shades of light and dark. No need to comment on them. Just notice what they are. Sounds near and far, high pitched and low pitched, loud and soft. Again, just notice without a lot of commentary. Bodily sensations and thoughts. You might even pick up a smell in the room or a hint of a taste from something you ate or drank earlier. Whatever sense perceptions attract your mind, let it rest there for a bit. We'll do that for a couple of minutes. Now imagine that your awareness extends out beyond the space immediately around you, out to the horizon in all directions. Imagine that it extends out beyond the horizon, out to the sky. Mind as big as the sky in all directions. And beyond that, imagine as if you're seeing the night sky, your mind extending out in all directions among the stars. And then beyond the farthest star, in all directions, and rest for a moment in that infinite openness. From that openness, a flash of universal awareness, rouse a feeling of wishing that all beings might be free from suffering. Include yourself, a strong wish to free yourself from suffering and to have happiness. And that includes illness and health, peace rather than anxiety, and a strong desire to do what you can to free all beings from those negative experiences, to let them be filled with the positive experiences of peace, healthiness, and happiness. And we can begin with ourselves, and if it's helpful, you can close your eyes or lower your gaze. Whatever is most comfortable for you, imagine in your heart center, which is at the level of your heart, in the center of your chest, imagine a beautiful clear crystal made of light. If it's easier, you can just imagine a ball of light there. But that light, that crystal, has transformative properties that whatever you imagine gathering into that crystal, whatever negativity you imagine gathering into that crystal, instantly transforms into the positive opposite energy and radiates out as the cool moonlight of kindness, of compassion. That crystal, that light in your heart center is your true nature, your capacity for wisdom and compassion. We all have that capacity. And it is infinite in capacity, so that whatever is gathered in, there's never a shortage of the ability to radiate out that cool moonlight of kindness. Begin by thinking of any negativity you feel toward yourself, any suffering you're experiencing, physical suffering of illness or injury, mental anguish, of fear, anxiety, frustration, negative feelings toward yourself, of guilt or blame or anger. Whatever quality, whatever texture those have for you. Sometimes people picture it as a thick, dark smoke. or fog. Whatever texture it has for you, as you breathe in, imagine that you're gathering it from all parts of your being into the crystal in your heart center, and then it transforms instantly. And as you radiate out, as you breathe out, the crystal radiates and fills your whole being with the cool moonlight of kindness, fills you with peace, health, and happiness. Breathe in negativity, radiate out to yourself the positive qualities of peace, health, and happiness. If you're just starting this, you can take 1 or 2 breaths to gather all that negativity in. There's no strict formula. And then take the next couple of out breaths to radiate it out to yourself. As you get the rhythm better, you breathe slowly, you can alternate with each breath. If you feel any struggling with this practice, that's a perfect example. Breathe in that feeling of struggle. And radiate out to yourself a feeling of, it's okay. And patience. Breathe in frustration. Breathe out and fill yourself with patience. Now, again, you can either leave your eyes closed or leave them open or open them. Because imagine somehow in front of you a person you're very close to who you know is suffering from illness, from mental anguish, maybe even from danger and fear. Imagine them vividly in front of you, and as you breathe in, imagine that you are gathering and taking from them all of that negative energy of fear, anguish, or illness, the suffering from the illness. And you gather all of that suffering into the crystal in your heart center, which instantly transforms it into the positive energy of courage, peace, health, and happiness. And radiate that out as cool moonlight that fills their being and soothes the suffering, filling them with peace, health, and happiness. Expand that as best you can to everyone that you care about, all your friends and family, all your loved ones. Imagine that you gather from all of them any suffering and unhappiness. And it transforms and radiates out that cool moonlight that fills their beings with peace, health, and happiness. Expand as much as you can to all beings, those you've met, those that you haven't. Beings that you might have different feelings about, whether you like them, dislike them, or have no feeling, include all of them, because we all have something in common: the wish to be free from suffering, the wish to have peace and happiness. Gather in that negativity from all directions. You can imagine it coming in from everywhere in your body, through all your pores, into that crystal in your heart center. Instantly, all the suffering of the world is instantly transformed effortlessly into an equal amount of amazing positive energy that radiates out like the moon radiating all over the earth, radiates out, filling all beings with peace, health, and happiness. Imagine that you are taking away all the suffering of the world, gathering it into the crystal in your heart that transforms it and radiates out an equal amount of energy, but the energy of kindness, compassion, filling their beings with peace and happiness, freedom from suffering. Now, let go of the visualization, let go of the concept. Return to awareness of your body, to close placement. Feel your breath coming in and going out. Resettle yourself, center yourself. And that concludes the session. Traditionally, we continue to rouse the aspiration that we have throughout our lives. And we say, just as I've just practiced, may myself and all beings be free, have happiness and the causes of it, happiness, be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. So we have that aspiration. And we can have even a deeper aspiration that all beings have the opportunity to awaken to the joy of the present moment, a joy that transcends temporary happiness and suffering. And that all beings can achieve the ultimate equanimity that's free from any kind of attachment, aversion, or ignorance, which great beings call enlightenment. So thank you. If you have any questions or comments, I'm going to unmute everybody. I'm going to just let everybody unmute themselves if they'd like. I think you can unmute. I think I can unmute you here, so, or ask you to. There you go. How is everybody?
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions?
I have one pertaining to golf, though.
Well, we're going to do that in a few minutes.
In a couple, okay.
So
okay.
if you can type that into the chat box or hold it, and then
I'll just hold it then. Okay.
So one of the things I wanted to mention is that some people sometimes struggle with the compassion practice because they think, oh, what do I do with all this hot, black, dark, heavy negativity that I'm gathering in? And that's why it's really important to understand that in a certain sense, our nature is that light and compassion. The nature of our minds is the capacity to know and the capacity to feel, which ultimately becomes wisdom and compassion. You know, it's like the sun. It's not just light, it's also warmth. So when people talk about enlightenment, I think they should also talk about enwarmthment. You know, that we become compassionate beings as well as wise beings. Um, and the idea is that this transformative power really exists in our nature of wisdom and compassion. So that, you know, if you were to say, well, what do I do with all this heavy, dark, smoky texture stuff that I'm gathering in? Well, you could say, you know, if you open up an air conditioner, you don't find a, you know, a big pile of negative stuff. Maybe you find a little dirt in the filter, but the heat has been transformed into cool. So it's the same kind of transformation. And it's really important in whatever we do with our mindfulness practice. You know, it's so easy to give ourselves a hard time. We tend to judge our practice. Oh, that was a good session because I was peaceful through most of it. Or that was a bad session. My mind was all over the place. That was a waste of time. It's not. If it's a good session, from that point of view, you can say, oh, that will inspire me to stay within and expand those periods of wakefulness throughout the day as well. But that doesn't mean the next one is going to be as good as this. And in the same way, if you struggle and it's all over the place, say, well, you know, that was very revealing about how busy my mind is. And it's nice to know that even though I didn't stay with it very long, there were gaps. There were gaps. I woke up from that daydream. And yeah, it was only a breath or two before I started the next one. But I know that I have the potential to expand those gaps in the busy mind. And that is what lets us continue on with inspiration. So what we do at the end of a session of mindfulness practice and compassion practice like we just did is to share whatever benefit, you know, because we were inspired at the beginning by rousing a strong feeling, a wish for all beings to be free from suffering, including ourselves. We might want to extend that and say, you know what? I want to share the benefit that came from this. And so it's always more powerful when we share the benefit of our practice with others. So you can repeat after me if you'd like, or use your own words, however you'd like. But the idea is to do it, and I'll say this in 3 phrases. May the practice I've just done be of benefit to others as well as myself. And of course, if you're inspired by a great deal of generosity or want to cultivate that generosity, you can even say something like, may the practice I've just done be of benefit to others even more than to myself. So, on that note, thank you, and we'll close this session of mindfulness and compassion meditation.